This computer. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
So, right now, I'm in a little bit of a sticky situation where I'm trying to build another little dev runway because I think we're coming to the end of the implementing tokens in the ones that I've had a chance to collaborate with people on figuring out. But because we've done quite a few now, there's a bunch of learnings that's come out of it, and I've put that into the action, refine the proposal to refine the action tokens, and the proposal to refine the status. I think it is. So to really get those in place, I kind of need to stop building that runway to figure it out and then apply it to the stuff coming up and the stuff that we've already built using the what I believe to be worse method, or we just continue with the worst method to try and get everything in with um, the pre-learnings assumptions and then try and apply it after. So it's trying to balance these two ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen those issues that you opened, but I admit I haven't looked at them deeply, so I don't really know the implications of like whether those tokens are live and we're changing them or if they're just living in Figma and we'd have to iterate before any of them are available anyway. So I guess my first question is like, are the tokens that you're proposing we iterate on live already? Like, are they published in GitLab UI?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
published and they're in the set that we're encouraging people to use.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah,
So that's
and
basically what Chad has been running into yesterday. I think he asked a question this morning, like, what's the difference between status and feedback? And I think that was at the heart of some of your iteration, wasn't it?
no, that's a different thing. That was Sam's
That's a different
education
thing.
point earlier that we've kind of like paused education to
Got
speed
it.
ahead on this. But yeah, we will definitely run into it when they're doing their cleanup
Yeah.
stuff. Uh, right now, we've got a really small surface area. I think they're only used in one or two, in small parts of one or two
Mhm.
GitLab UI components. Um, but that's going to grow pretty quickly in this next batch.
Yeah, that
When
makes
you
sense.
when you saying iterate on them, Dan, like what are we talking? Like a small tweak to a color or completely renaming things? Like what's the
So I don't think I've got time to go into the full thing today, but I did record a walkthrough and I'll send those issues to you.
perfect?
But taking action as an example, the generic tokens were built with about 90 to try and cover all of the button use cases.
Mhm.
Um, and my proposal is, hey, let's not try and build our buttons using the generic. Let's have a real generic set that only covers enough to do a neutral, a danger, and a confirm action that is not a button, which is already quite small, um, and handle buttons styles with a bunch of button specific ones, and have our action set be about 30, I think it netted out to, rather than the 90 it was. But
Okay.
the real numbers are in that issue.
Smaller semantic set, larger contextual set. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, because when I was trying to
Yeah,
go, I was
okay.
going. So is this an action strong neutral uh, thing, or is it not strong? And it's going, wait, all of these things only exist to try and build buttons. They don't really make sense outside of the button context.
That makes
And
sense. That makes
if I'm
sense.
tripping up on them, I've got a feeling our consumers will even more.
That's fair, yeah. Well,
Like,
looking at our existing backlog, looks like our team has at least a week's worth of stuff, like existing tokens that already have designs, they already have things they can start on, even if they're not fully spec'd. It's areas that are probably straightforward enough that they can pick it up and run with it, like pagination. Like, I think we have a good understanding of that they could probably make a reasonable first pass at it. Um,
I wish you
So
had
before I
more
can,
pagination because that uses
okay.
action tokens.
Oh, okay. So if there are ones in here that we think um, need to be blocked, we should probably mark those as blocked, and then that might reduce the size of the backlog that we've got ready for them. Um,
If we go, hey, let's stop and apply our learnings
yeah,
now, versus the other philosophy of let's just go with what's there and do it later.
yeah.
Is
Pay it now or later.
I think that the two questions I have is like one, stopping and applying the learnings, like how long is that? Is like a week, a milestone, a year? I'm hoping it's not a year, but you get the point, right? And then the other question, which is like the opposite of this, is like how much work would it be to go back and change these things? And then whichever one the smaller number is probably the way we should go.
Yeah.
I don't expect answers straight off the bat
Yeah,
there. I'm just
I'd
saying, like, that's where my head is.
if I jumped on a plane today for a 24-hour flight to a country with a different time zone, I think we could get it done within a couple of days. But time zones are not our friend.
You've
What?
broken my brain. Well, you're sorry, you've totally broken my brain there, Dan.
If I got on a flight to Australia, I think we could get this nailed within a day or two.
Right, so if you had
You got to
that
coordinate
constant
with
loop
Scott.
with
Yeah,
Scott, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Fair.
But
Okay.
it was my like I was trying to not but the circumstances are different. I think we're
Yeah,
closer
yeah.
to I think we're closer to realistically with some robust with some documentation that I think is going to be needed for paper cuts anyway.
Mhm.
That'll kind of build itself as we answer these questions. I think we're talking 2 weeks. And if we leave it, migrating all of the action stuff in the product in the future, I don't know. Quarters, I think I'd probably measure that in at the speed that our pajamas migration goes.
Yeah.
Just using that as a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's the fallacy of work in progress and trying to pick stuff up and not, and I don't know.
I think for me, if we're talking one's 2 weeks and one's measured in quarters, like if we can say pause it for 2 weeks, figure it out, we hit that 2 weeks. If we're not quite ready, I don't know, maybe by a couple of days we keep it going. But if we're not quite ready, we say, okay, well, we'll unpause and just do it later then, right? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. So just time box it. If we can get it done, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, maybe the way it works as well is we could pause it, figure some of it out, and then that some of it unblocks a load of things that we can pick up
Oh
and
yeah.
then keep going from there. But yeah, I don't want to introduce technical debt just because the engineers are ready to add it. Like that seems silly.
Engineers are always ready to add technical debt. What are you talking about, Sam?
I said just because, you know, everything's technical debt the second you write it. But if we know it's going to be, let's avoid it, right?
So I think in practical terms, I think it means me pausing MR reviews. I'm happy for engineers to stack up MRs
Yep.
and leave them ready for
Yep.
for merge. I think we can communicate to people, hey, if your thing uses action tokens, stop. It's probably we are probably days away from at least having the direction like properly established. And other than that,
Okay.
crack on trying to do stuff. And if there's a big backlog for me, once this time box is over, then that's cool. I can deal with sitting down and tuning through MR reviews.
Okay. And specifically, we're looking at action labels and I'm sorry, action tokens and what else? I know you had some issues open for this, and feel free to just throw those at me and say, Jeff, go read the issues. I just need to be able to go
Status.
connect the dots between
Status.
like
Yeah, action and status.
status. Okay. I need to be able to connect the dots between the issues so that I can label these as blocked and blocked by this. And maybe send a quick message to paper cuts. Like if you're looking at something that seems statusy or actiony, skip it. If it's something in these other categories, feel free to go ahead.
if there's any that you're reviewing at the minute as well that will be affected by this, can you probably tomorrow, given how late it is, but can you make that like the first thing you do, go in that merge request and say, hey, we're pausing on this, and tag me as well, just in case they have any questions of like, hey, what's Dan doing? Telling me to stop my work.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I'm going. I've got to go out now. I won't be.
Mhm.
I won't be back. But yeah, if you, can I volunteer you to communicate it, and then I'll go into the like the implementation part. So I'll mark it up in the Figma file. Hey, this is blocked. I'm working it. I'll mark it up on the MRs that I know,
Yeah,
and I can handle that like at the implementation end communication if you all can deal with the broader chat stuff.
good to me. That's good to
Cool.
me. Cool.
Awesome. Well,
We
yeah, I
said
think
2 weeks as well. Like I feel like we pulled that out the air. Is that the time box that you want for this and that we're all happy with?
Uh, I'll get back to you within a couple of days if it's not looking feasible.
Okay.
cool. That makes sense. So, to recap decisions, so Dan, you're going to stop on MR reviews and focus on this iteration. I'm going to go add a blocking label to any of the issues that are associated with action and status tokens, and we'll tell Papercuts to hold off on anything in this domain. And then Sam, you're going to at least give the engineers a heads up
Yeah.
that some of your MRs may be blocked. That's cool. We'll get it going in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you for
Good to
bringing
me.
this up, Dan. You feel good about all that? Maybe
You're
he's already
welcome.
left. Okay.